Recording has begun. Louder, no. I might actually turn it down in the background if it's drowning me out at all. Let me know. So for anyone that's just joining in from Discord or whatever, if you're watching this later on YouTube, there's a lot of information out there right now about 1.4 and specifically about the expansion, Biotech, RimWorld Biotech expansion. And I know I'm kind of late on this, and people have been asking me to do a thoughts video. Unfortunately, real life things have been going on. Very important things about my daughter. So I haven't read any of it. Haven't read any of this. So this will be kind of my reaction a little bit, as well as thoughts and ideas, and all of this might turn out not to be a real as far as like what you can use these things, but or how they'll turn out. But anyway, this one specifically, this first recording that we're doing is going to be just 1.4. So, and then I'll go to the biotech stuff for the next one. So this is just about 1.4, not biotech yet. All right. This text is very small. Let's zoom in. Enhance. Okay, so RimWorld update 1.4 public changelog. So this is specifically an update that will happen even if you do not have Biotech. So even if you don't have the DLC, this is going to be stuff that's happening with 1.4. New stuff in the base game. So base game will be for everyone no matter what. Okay. Painting and color customization. Added custom colored lights. Players can change their lamp colors to any color after completing colored lights. So now colored lights are going to be... The research is still there. It's been there for a long time. But instead of just choosing normal lights, dark lights, red light, blue fish, red fish, whatever, you'll be able to just go in and select your light and just change the color. That's pretty cool. So lots more color options with that, I'm assuming, as well. Added painting system. You can paint walls, floors, and some furniture and buildings with dye harvested from the Tinctoria crop. So Tinctoria will be more useful now. It'll be more useful. I know. My eyes. Why isn't there a dark mode for everything? There's like add-ons to do that with a lot of places. But anyway, Tinctoria plant is going to be more useful. So the question of that, so Tinctoria doesn't add a lot of wealth. It's a little bit. It's like 2 silver or 2.5 silver each. So you have to be careful of planting and harvesting too much of it if you're worried about wealth. I'm really curious if the paint itself, since it does actually use an item, will actually make the walls be higher wealth. So I'm really curious about that one. We'll have to test that and maybe add that to an addendum to the wealth guide. It's probably not going to be enough to matter even on 500%, but it's kind of interesting. So you'll access this under the orders tab. You can direct colonists to paint wall, paint floor, and remove paint. Choose from a large variety of colors to customize your colony. Move the Tinctoria crop and its harvestable dye from ideology to core. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, Tinctoria now is going from ideology to core so that you can do this even in the core game. Added many new carpet colors as well. Awesome. So one thing that's really cool about this is now if you have mismatched walls, you can just make them all look the same anyway. So people get on to me about mismatched walls all the time. It's like, oh, Adam, please. But now I can just, I can make them all the same color, or I can just make random color crap everywhere and make people even more upset. There's a mod for it. All right. So right off the bat, I get comments like that on YouTube and stuff with these updates all the time. If the developers, so 2 things here. First off, if the developers made it so anything they wanted to add to the game, they had to check first to make sure there's no mod for it, they would be so held back. They would not be able to add anything to the game. Very little. So if they were like, oh man, we want to add fences. And this was a thing that happened, right? Where people were upset that they added fences because there were mods for it. We want to add fences to the game, but there's already a mod for fences, so we can't do it. That would absolutely suck. I know a lot of people, especially that are on Twitch and whatnot, are using mods and looking to mods, but I bet you that most players that buy the game on Steam, definitely on console, obviously it can't have mods, are not going to be using the mods. So the dark mode. Oh, I got you. But anyway, you did remind me either way, Tio, whether you were talking about this or not. And I meant to say at the very beginning before I started, because I know I always get comments. The second thing is, if there is a popular mod, then that shows that there's a need, or at least a want for that mod in the base game. So I really think that them adding some things that are popular mods is a very good idea. And I know, like, as soon as this was announced on Twitter, immediately, even just from the image of Biotech, some of the first comments are already complaining, like, wow, they've ripped off mod makers again. And it's like, but anyway, just to get that out of the way. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. I really wanted to do that as a precursor, but oh well. Vanilla Comic Expanded win. All right, turrets, gas gear, and medicine. Added two new types of turrets, a foam turret and a rocket swarm turret. I did post a clip of the rocket swarm launcher, so I have read the 1.4 stuff, but not the biotech stuff. So the foam turret spits out fire foam to extinguish nearby blazes. It stands idle until activated by a colonist. The rocket swarm turret is a defensive launcher. When triggered, it blankets a wide area and a barrage of small missiles. It must be activated by a colonist to fire. Okay, so I have two comments about this. One, we already have fire foam poppers, but fire foam poppers are automatic. So, and we also have like the fire foam IEDs, which someone has to like walk over, right? So the only real benefit of the foam turret that I can see, because it has to be activated, is that you can choose when to do it. You don't lose it by like a Z event happening, like a Z event near your kill box or whatever, and the fire foam's gonna pop, and you know you've wasted it. It doesn't sound super impactful, other than saving from like fire foam poppers getting set off by lightning, by lightning or random fires or whatever. That one's just kind of whatever. I doubt I'm going to use it very often or very much. Now the rocket swarm turret, I have a few comments on. So I did check this one out, and it is very strong against unarmored people. You can actually go into my YouTube channel and go to the community tab, and you can see the GIF that Smurf made. It is very, very strong against tribals and, you know, like I said, non-armored things. It absolutely rips them apart. But there's a couple of problems with it for me. One is that you cannot pre-aim it. So a colonist has to use it kind of like a mortar, but with a mortar, you can hold fire. You can aim the mortar ahead of time. You put a colonist on there, and then you turn off hold fire, and then it shoots. You cannot do that with a rocket swarm turret. Basically, as soon as the colonist touches it to activate it, you immediately get a targeting icon, and then you choose where it launches the barrage. And that's good at everything, but for me, since I do no pause only, I probably am not going to use a lot of the barrage turrets, the rocket swarm launchers, because it's just going to be almost impossible on no pause. But I really wish that they made the interface to it more similar to the mortars. That's my main wish for that. But it absolutely shreds. In the clip that I was talking about, we use one of the turrets against like a max size late game tribal raid, and it kills like half the raid with just one of these. And what is it, like 180 chem fuel or something? It's absolutely crazy. So I can see using these for some like breacher defense, actually, especially like tribal breacher defense. Now I'll get to the shields later, but yeah, I can see some uses for it, but no pause is gonna be a lot harder for me to use. New gas system and health conditions. Oh boy. Rotten corpses and meat now release disgusting rot stink gas. Colonists that are chronically exposed to rot stink may develop new lung rot disease. Okay. All right. Blind smoke blocks shots like the old smoke. I'm gonna have to test that out. All right. So, here's the thing with this. So we're no longer gonna be able to have just like piles of corpses that we don't deal with forever, just right outside the doors. But I am wondering how fast they actually get a debuff from the rot stink. Like, yeah, lung rot, that's probably a more long-term thing. But I'm wondering now if, like, instead of a burn tunnel, we can have a gas tunnel. This sounds terrible. But imagine a long kill tunnel where we just leave corpses in the middle and we don't care because we never go there. And then when the raiders die, we just never clear it out. We just leave them in there. And then other raiders walk over the top and they get this rot gas. So yeah, we might make a gas tunnel. Oh my god. Yeah, I've never played Dwarf Fortress, but yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna make any more comments on that just yet. Added fire foam pop pack. It's a utility pack carried by firefighters. When triggered, the pack releases a burst of fire retardant foam. I like this. I like fire foam pack. If this is like a low cost thing, which I think it probably should be, this would be a nice thing to just have on some people as an extra you know, as an extra utility slot on people that weren't already decked out in utility. And I like this because it probably can, I'm assuming, is mainly you choose when to use it, just like smoke pop, right? So that'll be nice to be able to choose that and just pop where you want. The one thing I wonder about this is if there's any way to set it up, and there will probably a mod for this if it isn't base game. If there's a way to set it to auto pop if they're on fire, that would be really great. So if your colonist gets caught on fire, their smoke or their fire foam pop pack goes off instantly. It auto pops, perfect. That is going to be pretty handy, Add a recipe for bulk medicine creation. Nice, so you can do like 4x now. Add in an explicit tinned without medicine option to drafted pawns. That is pretty awesome too. So now you can choose if they're carrying medicine explicitly, if they're going to use the one that you have them carrying or not. Smoke launchers now work slightly different due to gas exchange or gas change as well. Easier to aim at feet and generate smoke around yourself. Nice. So it's going to be even easier to deal with turrets and mech clusters with smoke launchers now. That's pretty cool. I like that. Great help against flame centipedes. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, I think the fire foam pop pack is actually going to be pretty useful. Shelves. Shelves hold up to 3 stacks of most items. Pretty awesome. Exceptions include large corpses, chunks, and minified things. So stone chunks, large corpses like Thrumbo or elephant or centipede, I assume. And minified things like furniture. Added a single tile small shelf. Nice. That is pretty awesome. Man, I wish I had that near the cheese run. Shelves can be linked into groups for easier management. That is very nice also. So now we'll be, instead of having to like select a shelf, set it up, and then copy and paste it to all the shelves nearby you want the same, you can just grab them all and set it. Really like that. So I have seen a screenshot of this, and I do have a comment on it. Hopefully we'll see a screenshot here in a second when I'm going through some other stuff. But the shelves look a little weird with 3 items on them right now. Especially when it's 3 different items. And part of it is that it shows like the quality or the amount of the item. I'm hoping that we can turn that off because it looks very cluttered when you have 3 items overlapping and you see 3 different qualities or 3 different numbers or whatever. It's kind of, it looks messy. It's just not a clean look. So hopefully we can turn that off, or I'm sure there'll be a mod. So use the storage system. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty good. A single tile that can have 3 stacks. That is way better than just like late game. We'll be using this. Early game, I'll still probably throw most of the stuff on the floor, but you're struggling with the overlap in the in the unstable. Yeah, I'm really hoping that you can turn that off as far as just the number and quality. This is going to change everything for your bases because you already use a lot of shelves. UI changes. Completely overhaul the options menu. Options are grouped into different tabs, including a new mod tab. Screen shake was added as a new option. I actually like leaving the screen shake on because it sometimes gives me warning that things are happening. You know? Like, I don't know how many times all of a sudden my screen is shook and I'm like, oh god, lightning just struck the mech cluster and they're probably awake right now. So I'm going to leave mine on. Completely reworked mods manager and the mods mismatch UI. That's pretty cool. There was already a mod manager mod, but now it's built into the game, it looks like. Tile inspector. View info about a specific tile by holding the alt key. I like that quite a bit. Added pawn icons to mini menus. Created a square grid float menu for paint and carpets. Weapons are displayed below drafted colonist portraits. So this is one of those that I was talking about. Like, this is a very, very popular mod. Most people that I see that use modded RimWorld use this mod. I don't really like it very much. And here's the reason why. People always ask me. I usually do very high pawn count colonies. That's my preference. So I'm usually at 25 to 35 colonists. And having all those little icons of the weapons under every single colonist without like another mod to change the layout up there was just, it looked just messy. I don't know. It was messy. And I already had my own way to like check for weapons and to put them up there. I'll play around with it and I'll see. This is a toggleable thing. I did ask about this and it is a toggle, so you don't have to use it if you don't want, but now it's just built in. Yeah, I'm surprised we're not seeing color mood thing in the UI. Miscellaneous. In addition to all the prisoners you got before, now you'll get a new class of prisoner who is unwaveringly loyal to their home. They can't be recruited, but they can be sold, sent home for diplomatic benefit, used for gene extraction or blood farming in biotech, or used in rituals and enslaved in ideology. We did it this way because we wanted to make all the uses for prisoners besides recruitment more viable. Adding a new stream of unwaveringly loyal prisoners does that without destroying the population progression balance. They can be disabled in the storyteller settings. Okay, so this is a storyteller setting thing. All right, so I don't mind this so much.
Welcome back.
But
your steadfast loyalty is greatly
what I'm hoping is that you get more prisoners now in general, because right now how it works is the higher your pawn counts, the more likely you are to just kill someone when they're downed. And so hopefully we get less kill on down, even if more of those ends up being unwavering, because I already do that with a lot of prisoners, you know. But I feel like it's gonna hurt when this happens and it's like a god pawn. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Imagine you get like a tough, nimble brawler, which I've only seen like 4 in my 4,000 hours of playing. A natural, tough, nimble brawler comes in and they're unwaveringly loyal and you cannot recruit them. You can enslave them, but you couldn't recruit them. That would feel pretty bad. So, Brom, thank you for the 21 months. Tell me that you share a name. No, I don't think you did, Brom. Thank you, Brom. That's a long time. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Do they check the chance of pawn down compensate? That's what I'm really hoping, yeah. Otherwise, I might turn that off in some playthroughs, honestly. Starting colonists can begin with certain possessions, like smoke leaf. I was just holding it for a friend. These can come from backstories, health conditions, and rarely from pool of items. Interesting, interesting. Add a toggleable heat overlay that shows the air temperature indoor and outdoor. This will be interesting to turn on when I use the burn tunnel. Added a search bar to the quest list. Do we really need that for the quest list? I mean, I guess it's fine. I mean, it doesn't harm anything. People can be bald. There's a bald hairstyle. That's funny. Added a storeroom roll for rooms with lots of shelves. I wonder if it'll get any kind of bonus at all. Most of the rooms don't really get a bonus. They're just, yeah. Added chopped and smashed stump types for trees. I have to look and see what that means. The heat overlay should be cool. Add an option to randomize the menu background every game launch. That's kind of neat. So it's no longer, you no longer have to set it to whatever you want to see, or, you know, whatever your DLC that you're currently using, the newest DLC. So that's kind of cool. I'll probably do that. Added stats for crop growth rate, age and lifespan, and the length of time to clean and filth on surfaces. That's interesting because there was already crop growth rates, but it wasn't very informative because you had to read the details. It would be like, all right, this grows in 8 days. But when I say 8 days, I mean 8 days of daylight. Only the daylight counts. So it's really 16 days. That's also not quite accurate. So this will be interesting too. Added a cut all blight command. Nice. Nice. I won't have to use my trick anymore. Learning that was middle broke your heart. I'm so sorry. Added prisoner recruitment last resistance reduction info in prisoner tab. Okay, that's good. Added a research bench required alert. Added build hopper command. Yes, I mentioned this. In 1.3. So in 1.3, they changed it where when you made the launch pods, that there was on the launcher, you click it and you could rebuild the pod. So now they've done that for the nutrient paste dispenser and the hopper. That's nice. Drafted colonists can pick up down people and carry them around. That was already the case. You could literally already do that. That was one of the exciting moments that I had at the very beginning of 1.3. So what is this? You could already do that. I don't know. Apparently they forgot. Apparently they forgot. I'm saying that kind of jokingly, but the developers have actually said before that they've forgotten things that they've made in the game, which I can understand because of how massive the game is. Improvements and adjustment to the base game. Performance. Major startup and load time improvements. Launching RimWorld and loading a save game are both roughly 37% faster. On an example system, the startup time... I don't really care about this, honestly. Like, it's fine. It's good. But I was hoping for more performance updates, especially because for almost a year now, the developers have been off and on in the developer Discord collecting save files of late game RimWorld colonies with no mods to see why they run slow and see why they lag. It looks like that's going to end up being a later update if they can figure it out, or a later part of another DLC or whatever. It's going to help with people that have like a lot of mods and things like that to an extent. But for me, I mean, the game is going to load. I don't really care, honestly. So it's whatever. I was really hoping for more late game performance improvement, but I guess that'll remain on the wish list. Pawns, pyromaniacs are happy around fires, finally, and get stacking up to 4x mood buff for nearby fires. This includes torches and campfires. I would also love this if pyros had a reduced chance of setting fires if they've been around a fire recently. That would make this perfect, and I would no longer, when I look at a pyro, it would no longer even really be a negative for me. In fact, it would be, if that happened, it would be a good one to pick up because they would get a mood boost quite often. And they already get a mood boost for carrying like an incendiary, so massive undertaking. Yeah. Colonists can be ordered to rearm turrets while drafted. That's nice, I guess. I mean, it's not going to matter for my playthrough, but it's nice. Thank you, Otter. Thank you for watching over there, and thank you for letting me know. Yeah, it's a little bit different of a stream because I'm just going through the list of stuff, but yeah, thank you for coming over. Yeah, interesting. Pawns no longer hunt animals outside their allowed area. So this was a problem when it would happen a lot in mine. It happened in, I think, the recent Tundra run that we did, where you would set them to hunt something and the animal would be in their zone when they started the hunting job, but the animal would then run out of the zone, even all the way to the edge of the map, and the pawn would go after them even if it was out of their zone. So that's very nice. Pawns listening to their allowed area more is always good for me. While people no longer get mood debuffs for sleeping outside, or wild people. I always thought that was weird. I've always thought that was weird since the very beginning. So wild people no longer get mood debuff for sleeping outside or on the ground, which also means wild people will have less breakdowns if you've seen them have breakdowns in your game. Aesthetics no longer get negative mood debuff when eating nutrient paste. Very good. Do like that a lot. I like aesthetic pawns in general. Allow amputation on body parts with scars and other permanent injuries. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Oh, man. Now if someone has a scar on their finger, you can actually cut the friggin' finger off instead of having to replace their hand. Amputate the head for the brain scar. I don't know how many times I've had it where someone has something like their ear is at like 1% and they're complaining about their ear hurting and you couldn't cut it off or something. Your arm is too broken to replace. Sorry. That's a really good one. Wimp traits pain threshold. Increase from 50% to 60%. So I think the main reason for this is so that wimps don't go down from sicknesses easily. Wimps are still going to go down pretty quickly in combat. They're still going to go down when there's multiple things going on, like a disease and like food poisoning. You can still use them as punching bags, but now you're not going to have to worry about your wimps just getting food poisoning and immediately going down. Or like the very beginning of malaria and just immediately going down. Yeah, food poisoning. So that's a good trait, or a good improvement. Good change. Very hungry pawns now wake up if there is food available and they aren't very tired. I like that as well. It's very good. Where's this info available? This is straight through Steam. I'm on this. I opened this through the Steam page of RimWorld, the RimWorld news page on Steam. So I like that one. I like that one. So no more of that where, especially like gourmands, where gourmands are almost like, you'll get the notification that they're starving and you're like, you're literally just taking a nap. Just get up and eat. So now they'll do it without you having to worry about it. So that's nice. I like that one. They finally, yeah, just eat food, as I always tell them. They finally learned to do that. So bacon wakes you from deep sleep. Pawns kicked out of bed due to healing, completing bed rest, etc. are move to the bottom of the bed to prevent them from interfering with other pawns and wanting to use the same bed. That's interesting. That's a very small change. That's a good change, but interesting. We're going to take down pawns to bed so they can medically rest for non-urgent reasons. Building immunity to an infection and urgent reasons need tending or have an operation. Okay. So now wardens will also do that. Not just like doctors. That's a good change. More people within reason. It can screw you up a little bit if you're trying to tend someone on the ground that's about to die and one of your wardens comes by and is like, oop, and scoops them up. I had that happen in the Igor run actually. But you can just draft people and not worry about it. But overall, I like that. So UI screenshot mode no longer draws inspect pane gizmos and paths for selected objects. That's kind of nice. Better screenshots. Adjustment to world creation faction configuration. Instead of plus or minus buttons, there's a simple list of factions with an add button. I didn't think that was much of a... I didn't think that was very confusing anyway, but okay. Improve pod name rendering with disable tiny fonts active. Adjust default medicine settings window. Add a title, increase the size of the text, and unify the space between elements. A lot of people do not know about the default medicine window. It's one of the biggest things when I mention it on stream. Almost always someone's like, what? I played for 2,000 hours and I've never seen that. So now maybe it'll be more visible. So, all right, added small circular dots around the radius of a down projectile interceptor. I'm gonna have to see what that looks like in the game, actually. Say no to chill patch notes reading stream. Yeah, it's a Ruby in here. Display recipe ingredients products tooltip when hovering over recipe float menu. That's nice. That's such a minor thing, but I don't know how many times I've been like, wait, how much leather does it take to make this? And I have to go in and go to the information and look. So that's a nice little change. When multiple identical messages are sent, the original message is highlighted instead of adding a new message. Oh, nice. Nice. So you won't have that spam of message anymore. Okay. Letters are bundled together if they can't all fit on the screen. Also pretty nice. I like that. This one's really nice, though, actually. It's like a stealth awesome change. Miscellaneous. Carried things can now be added to caravans. Also very nice. It's actually kind of annoying. Like, I don't know how many times I have made a caravan and then we have like a manhunter. I'm like, oh crap, hang on. And I have to like cancel that or something. And then I want to remake it. Hopefully this can also be carried over to launch pods at some point where like you can actually choose stuff from another launch pod to go into the same launch pod. That way, I hate it so much when you have like, all right, I'm going to send them 1,000 leather. And then you check and it's like, oh, I should have put 1,010 because that's how much I apparently need to ally them. So I really hope they do this function onto launch or onto drop pods, launch pods, whatever you want to call it. We'll see. We'll see. Trade menu always shows player currency even when it is at 0. Updated sound effects for a number of designators in the architect menu. Interesting. Predators limit their hunting range to the same as their scavenging range. Hooray! There is a question I have about this. Is the range a as the crow flies, or is it pathing? I hope it's pathing. That's going to help a lot. If it's not pathing, then this is a very minor change. It's still a good one. Still a good change, but anyway, if you didn't know, the range a colonist will go to try to find a table to eat at is actually a straight range. It's as the bird flies, right? As the crow flies. It's straight. They don't take pathing into consideration. So I really hope they take pathing into consideration with the predator hunting. But overall, this should make it so predators hunt your colonists and your animals less often. Items deteriorate at 3 times the regular rate when in an unroofed area during toxic fallout. Interesting. Reduce the rate of toxic buildup from game conditions by 20%. Really? That's going to help a lot when you have like a off-map problem causer that is toxic spewer, and you have to like go over there and fight. That's actually, yeah. Am I reading that right? Reduce the rate of buildup. Yeah. So it should help with that. Swamps will stop being so aggressive. All right. So I have not read anything about Biotech yet, so I don't want to know anything about Biotech yet. This is just 1.4. I haven't gotten to any of that. So DLC stuff we'll get to after the 1.4 video. Sterilized egg layers no longer produce eggs. I didn't realize that was a bug already. Shelf cost reduced from 30 to 20. Nice. Work to build reduced from 650 to 500. So the wealth of shelves will also decrease. So they build faster. They take less resources. They are less wealth. Nice. Tech prints give a flat 2000 XP bonus unaffected by learning rate anymore. So no more of that good like 4000 XP. Bam. Immediately a better researcher for applying tech prints. Beggar Quest asks for max 700 market value. Yes. All right. Now we can do the good guy run again. Beggar Quests no longer coming in and being like, oh, guys, could you just spare like 22,000 silver? And then getting another one that's like, can we have, I don't know, just like 1,500 medicine? No. Get out. All right. Robert, are you... Surely you just... Did we know that RimWorld was getting a new DLC? That is literally what we're doing. But yeah, I've had a video out about the DLC for like a week. Rename the rest need to sleep. This avoids confusion with pawns that are resting but not recovering the rest need. Gotcha. I gotcha. Added stat entries to meals displaying ingredients and dietary types. Combine hunger rate and food consumption stats. Okay, so less confusion there, I guess. Prevent trees marked for extraction to be cut for construction. Good. Growing zone description now has information on the average and maximum age and maturity of the plants in the zone, if there are any. That's kind of interesting. Could you spare $1 million, sir? Please, just $1 million. Growing zones and stockpiles now have a description for how many cells are in the zone. Oh, that's gonna be pretty amazing. So, you know, when people come in and they're like, Adam, how many plots of rice do I need to feed every colonist? And I'm like, well, if it's in normal soil, 20. If it's in rich soil, like 15, basically. Now you'll just very easily be able to spread that and add chunks to it without even thinking about it. So cell counters, that is such a good addition. That is pretty awesome. So it'll make growing food much more precise if you want to be precise, if you want to min-max stuff. That is pretty awesome. I really like that. Allow players to select things. There we go. Allow players to select things pawns are holding by either slow clicking, using the widget when the carrying pawn is selected, or using the next thing in cell. Nice. No more things just like friggin' disappearing momentarily, sorta, when someone picks something up. It's like, hey, get back here with that, and you have to draft them and have them drop it or whatever. I do like that too. Add commands to pawns and buildings for selecting their held things. As it mentioned, locked menu dev gizmos behind God mode toggle. Backstory mod source is shown if it's not from an official expansion. So it just tells you, like, if you have backstories. Sometimes I'll have people that ask, Adam, what do you do about pawns that are superficial or something? And it's like, what are you talking about? You have no idea what I'm talking about? You like seeing that I'm excited about some of it? Yeah, no problem. Honor match. This will go up on YouTube as well, like literally tomorrow morning. So if you're interested in hearing the rest, definitely check out tomorrow morning. Oh, they got me excited for a second. I was excited for just a sliver. I saw remove standing lamps. I was like, yeah. Oh, they just made it so, like we said earlier, you now select what kind of light you want from your lamp if you have the research. When selecting a steam geyser, the geothermal generator build gizmo is shown. Nice. Very nice. I hope you can do the AoE one like that too. So if the AoE one exists, what I mean by that mass selection, you can zoom out, you can double click on a geyser, you can then click build generators. It will mark all of the geysers for generators, and then you can you know, temporarily forbid the blueprint on the ones you don't want to build yet. Very, very nice. Very nice. No wall lamps, no. Moved range weapon, melee weapon, armor, clothing, and art stock gen to a tagged base system and adjusted market value selected weight for all items. Okay, we'll have to see how that plays out. Keep selection on things which become despawn in some circumstances. Selection is preserved as a blueprint becomes a frame and finally a finished building. So this is very minor, but like if you put down, let's go with the geothermal. If you put down the geothermal and you have it selected as a blueprint and they start building it, it will just deselect it. And if you want to select it again to see how much materials it's brought in, then you have to reselect it. And then when they finish, you have to reselect it. It's very like, you're not going to really do that very much, but it's just a nice little thing that we won't notice, but a nice little quality of life thing. So improvements and adjustments to royalties. So these will be 1.4 updates just for royalty only. Imperial champions can use spear and long swords. Okay, so more variety of that. Might also stop if you anger the Empire. A lot of the early raids will still come with like friggin' mono swords. So I know in our no kill box run, like someone showed up really early with mono swords from the Empire. So now they'll probably be more likely to have these like lesser weapons at lower raid points. So skip and chaos skip have a max body size set. Sorry guys, I don't think you're gonna be able to skip centipedes in a melee range anymore. Feels bad. Skip is an amazing Psycast, and it's still going to be after this, but that's unfortunate. No more skipping centipedes around, I don't think. Gun link no longer counts as clothing. Oh, I was excited for a second again. Gun link no longer counts as clothing for nudity. I immediately thought that it was going to have gun links no longer be a helmet item. It was going to be like an accessory. It's like, oh my god, now gun links on everyone. No. It's just, yeah, nudists don't care about it anymore. Limit Noble Whip tonight or Praetor. Okay, interesting. That's the quest, the Noble Whip quest. Ensure persona weapons are unbound if you leave them on a temporary map. Okay. Interesting. All right, ideology changes from 1.4. Again, this is not DLC. This is just RimWorld 1.4 changes to ideology. Ideology system inactive. Games can set and use all styles of buildings, items, and floors. That's kind of cool. So right now, if you go into ideology and you can go and you can just turn it off, like basically have a classic system, you'll be able to have fun and design with all of the styles. That's kind of neat. Yeah, so you can make a pretty cool looking base if you are more of a role player type, or making pretty bases or stuff like that. You can make some pretty cool stuff with that, with the mixtures of the different styles. Moved ideology buildings to new ideology architect tab. That is a pretty awesome as well. So now there's going to be another the tabs are the bottom left thing that you see, like orders and different building types. So ship, electricity, etc. So ideology will now have its own tab instead of crowding the other areas. So that's kind of cool. I think they should maybe do that with royalty, but royalty maybe doesn't have enough to do it. So that seems pretty nice. Down pawns can perform duties in a ritual if the ritual role allows them to be downed. Interesting. Nice little change. Allow style selection and build configuration dialogue in classic mode. So that's what we just kind of talked about up there. Added a gizmo to blueprints in classic ideology mode that allows changing the built style. Ensure ideologians are recalculated after an Arconexus win. Okay. Added complex furniture as a prerequisite for reliquary and styling station. That makes sense. Like, to be able to make the styling station out of wood before you can make a bed doesn't make too much sense, so I'm fine with that. Not a big change at all. Complex furniture you're going to start out with most starts, and the ones you don't, you can get it very quick. It's one of my first researches, usually my first. Negative thoughts related to not having enough sacrifices on the brain. Scarification scars do not apply at very low expectations. Oh, thank goodness. So now, Pain is Virtue was already pretty good. Pain is Virtue is even better as a starting ideology, especially with a fluid start. And the reason I say that is Pain is Virtue, they get bonuses from being scarred or whatever. They do have lower consciousness, which sucks. However, they actually have higher resistance to cold and heat a little bit, and they don't care if they sleep on the ground or outside. So you can start out, especially on fluid, with Pain is Virtue, not have to worry about that stuff as much in the beginning, get to some of the more important stuff, and then you can reform later if you want. You don't have to worry about them being really unhappy right off the bat from not having, 5 scars or whatever. No slaves in colony thought does not apply at very low. That's also really nice. So if you have one of the ideologies, the memes that require you to have slaves, it's going to be later until you get the mood hit from not having them. Rituals are called off. The target is reserved by another pawn during the ritual. Okay, that makes sense. Neff, tier 3. Thank you, Neff. Another tier 3 sub. 8 months. Much love to Neff. Thank Neff. Ritual opportunity letters are skipped for most rituals for the first 10 days of play. Okay. I think that's more of a, like, you have a scheduled one. It's like, oh, it's April Mary the 5th. People are going to be unhappy unless you have a weird Christmas. Ideologian building missing alert now specify what building it is a variant of. It also displays where you can find in the architect menu. That's a minor one, but it's a good one. I've actually had that question in Discord, especially if you're using like a blueprint mod or something like that, and it's made the wrong thing, because the blueprints mod will make it a style or things that you don't. So, added cannot be assigned reason upon portrait tooltip on the ritual begin window. Okay. Randomizing precepts no longer brings up a confirmation dialog if the user has not edited precepts. Dev tools, I don't really care about this one too much, but we'll go through really quick. I do use some of these when I make guides. Debug option palette that allows the user to select a debug action, use the node, added pin color to the debug, implemented dev mode camera controls dialog with presets is interesting. Added debug, added dev remove, yeah, okay. Gear related debug. Technical, made loading save game a bit faster by optimizing some stuff. When loading a save game, cache parse version. So just loading all together, save game or new is gonna be faster, and opening RimWorld is gonna be faster. Wool camel back compat. What? Further backstories use def system, replace crown type with head type, carpet defs, allow defs. Okay. So none of these are really anything that we need to worry about. Bug fixes. All right, here's something I'm worried about. So back when 1.3 came out, Tynan actually tweeted to me because I had said something on Twitter, and that's how I figured out about the developer Discord. You can join the developer Discord too. It's not an exclusive thing, but I didn't know about it. And I was like, I have all this list of these exploits and bugs that I've been using in 1.3. You know, where should I submit those? And Tynan replied and gave me the link. And I submitted them. And then like on one of the updates, maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, they were all fixed. And I was like, what? No, don't fix these. These are things that I use. So anyway, let's see. This is the scary one. Meals with meat show as acceptable for everyone. Pawns will now try to make the largest pile possible when dropping an item instead of adding the dropped item to an arbitrary pile. This is causing a loop for pawns trying to merge 2 stacks in the same cell if they couldn't fully pick up one of the stacks. Nice. That's a good change. Stranger in Black can have 0 shooting skill. Good. So now when you get a man in black, they changed another thing with a man in black before to where he wasn't incapable of like medical or cooking or something like that. So man in black is more often going to be a viable colonist instead of a like roulette of like, you know, whatever. Yeah, like the Autobahn mechs, yeah. Fluid ideology is loaded as non-fluid. Only new saved ideologians are affected. I've had this happen before when I'm making a new save file. So basically at the moment, if you load fluid where it says load save fluid and you don't actually go into create fluid and then load, it would actually load it as a non-fluid game with only your first meme set. So that's a very nice fix. Ritual spectators will stand on beds or in doorways. So they're not supposed to. Is that why we have them fail sometimes, the ritual closet? I bet it is. So thank you, Built-Man. Some apparel is smeltable when it would not give anything for smelting. It's unfortunate. Kind of like that. So one second. Oh, it doesn't have the instructions on there. If you haven't already, you link Amazon to Twitch, and then you click the subscribe button below the channel or any channel you want to use it on. And in that menu, you'll have an option to use your Twitch Prime subscription. But you have to link Twitch to Amazon first. Incorrect float menu, label for prioritizing surgery when there is a medicine available. Yes, that is very nice. It's very nice. Proximity activator is not triggered by skip sidecast happening in its range. That was a bug? All right, well, that's unfortunate. Skip is still good, even still. But now if there's sleeping mechs or whatever, and there's a proximity thing, you can't use skip to pull something out of there. It will wake up the mechs. Growing multiple plants in a single spot in a hydroponic basin. Why people can steal ingredients while they are being cooked. I'm so glad that's fixed. Yoink. Drug take to inventory policy can exceed defined limits. So that's like you have them keep one in their inventory, but instead they're keeping more than they're supposed to. Yeah, that is a really bad one. So I'm glad for that. That's one of the reasons why I kill wild people when they come in. So hidden and temporary factions can own work sites. Okay. Having ideology installed in classic mode causes nudity thoughts to be ignored. I didn't realize that. During the ideologian reform, hairstyle and tattoo changes remain. You can shoot through some ancient buildings, but can't pass through them. So that's been fixed. So you could use that against melee. You could have like one of the ancient tanks. You could build a wall up to the sides and you could shoot over it, and the melee pawns or scythers would just run around on the other side and you'd be able to shoot them. So that is fixed. No more exploiting that. I didn't use it very often, but you can skip towards it without activating it. I don't know. Yeah, I doubt it. We'll have to check though. But yeah, you can't use those anymore. It's unfortunate. I mean, it kind of made sense though, right? Like, it kind of made sense that if you had this giant tank thing that the scythers couldn't get over the top of it, but you could shoot through the openings or something, but whatever. Cannot feed, no food displayed, while pawn has nothing. Food restriction. Okay. Bestower shuttle won't leave if one of the guards is down or left the map. So, man, there's been so many exploits for the bestower that they've had to fix over the years. We used that quite a bit when it was near your base. Shuttle stays forever if all passengers cannot get on board. Set biotune method resets the biosculptor timer. Okay. Zone area restrictions can cause an endless loop upon trying to tend to a pawn outside of the allowed area. Pawns will no longer drop the thing they're carrying when going to pick up another thing as part of a hauling task. We were just talking about that just the other day. You can still freeze the bestower. Nice. That's a really nice one. Yeah, I like that. It's so annoying. Like, it didn't make any sense before. It's like, man, how stupid are these pawns? So some pawns wearing burqas don't have hair rendered, even though you can see their face and head. Bestower could suffer from heat stroke with minimal goodwill loss. Classic ideologian pawns cannot extract skulls. Now they can. Shuttle crash quest fails if you have VIP boarded. Some offenses done to upset the slave's home faction in ways that don't make sense. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Public execution can be started for any ideologian from any ideogram and still get a quality bonus. Nice. High life harvest yield for drug use essential precept doesn't work. Nullified thoughts being counted against food optimally. Geysers have a deconstruct gizmo in God mode, which causes an error when clicked. Never ran into that. But I don't, like I said, I don't really use dev mode very much. Explosive projectiles disappear when impacting a shield. They now detonate when impacting. Why, God, why? Oh, God. That's the most impactful change out of all this. For my gameplay, that is the most impactful of anything, any of 1.4, any of it. That was a bug. All right, let me show you. Someone posted a GIF of this. It was Smurf, right? Let's see. I think Smurf posted one, if I remember right. Yeah, here it is. Oh, man. All right, let's take a look at this. Check this out. Oh, man, this is brutal.
Our modest fellowship expands. Praise the sub.
Deity, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Thank you for using that, Deity. It worked. Thank you, I appreciate it. Does count as a tier 1 sub, you probably heard. Man, that sucks. So what happens now is the explosion blows up on the edge of the bubble, but the actual explosion goes through the shield. So the explosion now passes through the shield. Drop a shield on top of the shooter now? Yeah, well, I mean, you'd have to be in melee range to do that. So the main thing I used low shields for was to protect against triple rockets and doomsday. So now they blow up. So here's the thing about skip shield that doesn't make sense. If this is how it works with skip shield as well, it shouldn't, because the text in skip shield specifically says that it skips the projectile somewhere else in the universe. It just skips it. It teleports it somewhere else, right? So if it blows up on the skip shield, that makes no sense, and there's no way that was a bug. It literally describes it that way. So it's kind of BS, honestly. So now what am I going to do when I have late game pirates? I usually call in people and stuff to absorb some of them. Now I'm going to have more animals that I literally just throw out there to get hit by rockets. So yeah, I'm going to have dogs that fetch rockets, basically. So if skip shield and stuff like that. Now, there is a kind of caveat to this. Did they nerf the low shield? Incredibly. They incredibly nerfed it. Hopefully skip shield works differently, and that will make skip shield more valuable. There's another thing to this, though. Most pirate raids and Outlander raids or whatever, pirate raids that have explosives, they also have low shields in the party. So it might be beneficial to no longer break their low shields and let their rockets come up and literally just blow up all their own people. So this might actually backfire on Tynan, and it might actually make it the raids are overall easier as long as you get one of the enemies to proc their low shield. And to do that, you just need to shoot one of them with a low shield, and then they come up and they just blow themselves up. So raiders might just be absolutely stupid about it. We'll have to see how raiders do. The other thing will be we'll have to see like what all the distances, because as you can see from this, the Doomsday comes here, right? So technically we could still use a low shield for the Doomsday and protect like 10 pawns. We just have to be more careful and have them in the back, but they're already pretty stupid. Yeah, especially fighting mechs. Like the low shield and rockets. Yeah, I don't know why they've done this change. Low shields weren't super common. So skip shield still does skip it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I don't like this change. It was one of the things that I used a lot with no pause in late game against explosives. But it just means I'm going to have more animals. I'm going to be faster about zoning. I'm going to have to use the low shields of the enemy against them. Now, on the other hand, this does give you a new counter to enemy low shields. So if an enemy is using a low shield, you can now use explosives against it if you want. So Doggo fetching rockets. That's what I'm probably going to mainly do. Doom rockets will just kill you outright again. Yeah. Man, oh man. Yeah, there'll be mods for it immediately, I'm sure. You tested a skip shield and it detonated on it as well. Yeah, that's stupid. Deep drilling job canceling when forbidden or exhausted a resource. Oh, not canceling. I've had that happen before. That is a nice fix. Very good. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this fix or change. I can't believe it was that was a bug. So anyway, simulate not owning options default to true, and I don't know what that means. Incorrect value is given when evaluating how much each item is worth when giving as a gift to other factions. Thank goodness. Rebelling slaves could be sold to tribute collector. That's kind of funny. Berserker trance makes pawn guilty even though they cannot attack allies. Guilty stats for melee and range combat cannot be created by drafting a pawn. I didn't realize you could do that. It's interesting. Placing 0 work buildings beside or on mechanoid wakes them up. This can be used as an exploit by trigger mechanoids. Man, that's been in the game since friggin' alpha. So for anyone that doesn't know what that means, to wake up clusters in like psychic ships and things like that, you could spam down sleeping spots because sleeping spots didn't take someone to come build. Can't do it anymore. Can't do it anymore. Another cheese fixed. So now you're going to have to wake them up another way, like a mortar. So I guess we'll have even more uses for mortars. So he sees you. Or, you know, outranging. So. Jumping resets fire at will toggle. That's very nice, actually. So if you have jump packs, fire at will. Fire at will, turning it on and off can be very important in some situations, and you definitely don't want it to switch back to one or the other. Fix exploit. Players are able to claim ruined furniture on non-home maps and draw out an enemy attack on the claimed furniture. Now ruins are only claimable if there is no non-down hostile pawns on the map. Okay. Ability comp data is not persistent between saves. Hay is listed as possible nutrition biosculptor pods, so that's a fix. It's no longer. When forming a caravan, down pawns are sometimes left behind near the map edge. Yes! Thank goodness that's fixed. It didn't happen very often, but it was pretty annoying, yeah. I've had people leave them behind as wigglers on the edge of the map. Permit shuttle fails when sent to a work site. Bonsai tree reminds of unharvested resources, even though it's a decorative plant. Doctors sometimes go to bed and attempt to start surgery on themselves. Fire foam popper apparel items can pop during surgery. Relics can stack. That's funny. So Fire Foam Popper belt is the new one, right? So this must have been something that was happening like right away or whatever. Yeah, it's funny. Relics can stack with other items of the same type. Interesting. Oh, never mind. Oh, wait, I thought that was already fixed. They never fixed that? So for anyone that's wondering what this is, imagine one of your relics is a Thrumbohorn. Yeah, you get a Thrumbohorn relic, right? And you go out, you do all the quests, you get your Thrumbohorn relic, you take it home, someone throws it on the pile of other Thrumbohorns, it disappears. You no longer have the relic. It just becomes a normal Thrumbohorn. So finally that is fixed. Elephant Tusk, yeah, whatever, any of those. So yeah, any of those relics, any relics that were stackable, being able to be stacked in and then becoming no longer a relic is finally fixed. I actually thought they fixed that. Apparently not. Plasma swords don't provide pyromaniacs a mood buff. Nice. So plasma swords will now give the pyros a mood buff. Place workers recreates return lists. Missing feedback when trying to tame an animal with no acceptable food. It's good. I don't have that happen very much, but no feedback when trying to order a fire extinguishing from a pond incapable of firefighting. I don't get that very much either. When searching in an information panel, clicking any stat will scroll up to the top. That's nice. I do like that. Ponds resting in caravans don't show the Z icon on their portraits to indicate rest. I didn't realize they were supposed to. Apparently that was a bug all along. Global work speed not applying to pruning speed, hacking speed, medical tin speed, and medical operations speed. That was a bug? We talked about that with pruning speed. So global work speed is now going... So Gwarlins are just going to become better. That's awesome. If you have someone with a high global work speed and high planting, then Gwarlins are going to be even easier to get. So that's actually a big change. And medical tin speed is now going to be also tied to global work speed. So man, if you have a doctor with high global work speed and good medical skill, that's going to be incredible for like staunching the flow of bleeding and stuff. That's really good. That's a really awesome. I didn't realize that was a bug. I just thought that's how it was supposed to be. Nice. You've been watching YouTube at 1.5 so much that I sound drunk. I know. I do that too. Resurrected executed prisoners retain the execute option and usually immediately get executed after being resurrected. Who's using resurrection serum on prisoners? I can tell you I've never ran into this bug. You know why? Because I only get like one resurrection serum on my playthroughs, like every 5 playthroughs. You think I'm going to use that on some prisoner? Doctor is hurt. It will be punishing trying to save everyone. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's going to also apply for a lower global work speed is going to hurt. Yeah. Colonists deconstructing walls even though they are not assigned to construction. There's several cheeses exploits they did not touch at all, including like the infinite carry capacity of caravans. So all right. Prisoner's God Pawn, tough nibble brawler. Then why'd you execute them in the first place? Yeah, I remember seeing you do that, Minok. So that's all the 1.4 updates. So that's all the 1.4 changes. Overall, lots of really good stuff. Very good in some places. There are 2 things I'm a little upset about. One is mainly, corner punching is not fixed. Yeah, peeking is not fixed. There's a lot of things that they're not fixed, but there's a couple things. So just to recap really quick what those are. My biggest disappointment is that there's not more updates to performance. The loading the game faster, loading saves faster, mods loading faster, those are all great changes. But with how much in the developer Discord they've been posting about getting save files for people to try to figure out optimization more. I know it's a really big task and it's a really crazy one, but I was really hoping that some of that would come with 1.4 or Biotech. So a little unhappy about that. The other thing that's really going to impact my playstyle a lot is the low shield change. I don't really like the low shield change at all. It seems kind of crazy. So, but lots of good things in there. The shelves thing, being able to put 3 items on a single spot with a shelf basically, or with shelves basically, or just get an extra storage spot by using shelves. All the painting and customization, lots of little fixes that are really nice. So altogether, these 1.4 changes, I'm happy with. It's going to take some changes in play style to get used to some of it. But yeah, I look forward to trying out the turrets, see if I can get those working well and find a way to use them with no pause. But overall, yeah, I'm looking forward to trying out 1.4. Now, I'm going to go ahead and split this, and then we'll talk about some of the biotech stuff that I haven't read. So let me end this recording, but this was just about the 1.4 patch change, which again is going to come to the game regardless of which DLC level you're at. You'll get these things. So lots of things. I'm going to have to figure out how to weaponize the lung rot stuff, rotten meat and stuff like that for sure. But yeah, let me end this recording and then we'll move on.